in January 2026, the McKinsey CEO actually revealed that the firm had 25,000 AI agents now working for the company.
It can actually kind of look in the inbox, understand, there is a question which need to be responded from the last day's conversation. So it can understand, it can basically kind of take decisions, business perspective. It doesn't care about what system you're using. It's all about the output you're going to make, right? You can build agent hierarchy, agent farm, which have the manager agents, you have this approval agents, you have your worker agents, and you can actually make it work 24/7.
You shouldn't just implement for the sake of implement. You should look at, it should be problem solving first.
Most of people don't think about that. Okay, how do I track it? How do I manage it? And what if you have any kind of hijacking happen? We should have a clear security framework which guides these agents.
Well, this is being in Dubai right now. Welcome to the Human Edge podcast. I'm your host, Nicola Sage, and here we talk about how we use AI to improve the world and actually improve processes and businesses rather than the negative talk around it. So we look at how we can use AI literacy and governance to achieve this. So I'm super excited today. I have Akhil, my friend. He is a cloud and AI architect, business owner, and he is all around a great person. So if you would like to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Akhil. So I have around 40 plus years experience in this industry. So right now I'm an AI and cloud architect. I help companies to build infrastructure around AI and cloud, helping them to improve, automate, and bring great results out of the system. So today we're going to discuss more about how AI is shaping the business and the future, and how security is rolling around it.
Yeah, and this is why Akhil is absolutely the perfect person to be talking about this. So in January 2026, the McKinsey CEO actually revealed that the firm had 25,000 AI agents now working for the company. So that's a fundamental shift. We now have a world where we have team members that are non-human, not just simple automations, but actually goal-pursuing agents that make different business decisions. So you've spent so many years working in automation. Right. How would you say, in your own words, how automation and AI agents are different?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question, right? So when you think about automation, right, so it's all about making things much more faster. So you do something on a daily basis. So for example, I check my email every day and look into anything that is really important to respond back. So I can automate that, so that anything that's really need to be taken care of, or I need an attention, it can pop up very quick and see, okay, you have something to be responding. And when you look into an AI-driven automation, the things are different, right? So it doesn't just look into the predefined guidelines. It do have an intelligence, right? It can take decisions. Instead of it coming back to me saying, you have an email to be responded, rather it can actually kind of look into the inbox, understand, there is a question which need to be responded from the last day's conversation. It can take care of it, right? So I don't have to, or nobody have to really looking into what it is going to do. So it can understand, it can basically kind of take decisions based on the guidelines we given, the policies which you build around it, and it can just do it autonomous. So that's the difference between an automation and when AI is driving the automation. And one more important thing is like the outcome, right? So when you have automation, the outcomes are pretty much predictable. You're going to get this. But when you have an AI agent doing the stuff around it, doing automation, the outcome is dynamic, right? So for example, you have a frustrated customer emailing you, where is my product? I still didn't reach my home. I'm not able to track my shipping. How the human is going to just kind of respond? You look into the shipping vendors, you look into the tracking information, and respond back with the your shipping is reached this point, you'll be getting in this time. The same thing can be done by an AI agent, right? It can do it, and it can actually cool down the user. It can respond back to the email with a really pleasing note saying that, this is what's going to happen, and this is where your order is. So those kind of things are much more possible when you have an AI agentic automation instead of having just an automation place.
Yeah, and I've seen that also that the UAE government is investing 13 billion into making the first AI native kind of government system. So I wanted to ask you, in terms of it's powerful in terms of it can now look at something, see the semantics, like for example, the email, see the semantic sentiments inside an email and then make a decision. What have you seen as someone who builds these systems? What business impacts have you seen on businesses?
Yeah, so when you look in a business perspective, right? So when you look in always in a business perspective, it doesn't care about what system you're using. It's all about the output you're going to make, right?
Yeah.
So you have, so for example, the business who basically make money with the proportion to the number of customers you can handle, right? So for example, you are running a customer support agency where you are able to resolve 500 tickets a day, and that's going to be your billing number, right, against your client. So in those cases, when you are adding AI layer to your system, your company, you're enabling AI agents to take care of your customer support layer, you will be able to increase the productivity from 500 to maybe 5,000 or maybe 10,000 based on how much scale you are doing it, and that's going to improve your business outcome. And with the help of AI and with the help of agentic AI, you will be able to discover new potential within your business, right? Sometimes you might be able to find solutions which was not there before. You will be able to identify, I could have done this much more better way before, so that I could have got much more savings, so much more better quality of product and services, right? So you can do those things with the help of agentic AI, because it's not just about finding out a solution. It's all about getting the best optimized output for a particular situation. So you can even build a complete system with multi-agent architecture for a single activity, which can work as I could say a farm of honeybee, right? If you see honeybees, you'll have this queen, and then you have the worker bees who take care of the activities. Then the queen is going to take care of the other activities, and you'll have the bees who take care of the supervision, all those things, right? The same way you can build agent hierarchy, agent farm, which have the manager agents, you have this approval agents, you have your worker agents, and you can actually make it work 24/7 for a business, which can actually improve, first thing, the productivity. Second, it can add new features, new outcome from your existing business itself.
Okay.
And there are many places I've seen business owners are not even knowing that, okay, we could have made this improvement, we could have made this kind of changes by adding a little tweak to the existing process. So most of things what I see is companies, if you look into the smaller companies, they think about how do I put AI on top of the existing process. But I would say you have to understand what outcome you're bringing to the customer, then think about how do you improve the outcome using AI and AI agents. So that will be helping you to reverse engineer your process and get a very much stable AI-driven business for anybody.
Yeah. So I guess the fundamentals stay the same in the sense of that you really should be problem first, and then thinking, okay, well, what is the best tool for me to actually solve this problem, so I actually have the outcome that I actually genuinely need as a business. And I think, like we were talking about earlier, that with AI agents, there's exponential opportunities. Like you said, having several layers of different manager agents, managing different agents, and having a whole worker team for you. But also there's now exponential opportunities for problems. So when you're building these systems for these different companies, what do you think is something that they don't know and that you would like them to know before they actually seek building these AI agents?
Yeah. So when we look into what happens is the companies, mostly companies who take care of these kind of activities, they, like I told, right, they always look into, okay, how fast it can be done or what's going to be the output. So they never think about, okay, there are many things to be taken care, like the security, the cost. So these two things, as well as the stability. So, and is it proportional to your ROI? So are you getting a correct ROI out of it? So for example, you have 3 employees who you are paying for example, X amount of money, and the company really need to be having AI integrated to it. So first thing I always ask is so when you move to an AI based automation or bringing in AI technology to your company, is it going to bring in an ROI for it? Or is it you're trying to make more savings, more profit, or it's like improving your service, existing services. So you have to always think about that. So is it like I'm going to make profit out of it, or it's like improve my business or develop my business? What is your outcome actually? And then you have to decide, okay, what technology you have to go with. And most of the companies, when you look into the smaller companies and medium companies, they don't think about what is a security layer. So do I have a fallback? So what if this agent stop working tomorrow?
Yeah.
Do I have a fallback for this? So I don't think people are thinking that way, because it's a part of the infrastructure. So every company have an infrastructure, IT infrastructure. This is also going to be part of it. Even though they are AI driven, it's going to be part of infrastructure. So you should have a security layer, you should have a fallback layer, so that if tomorrow one of your vendors API goes down, you should think about, okay, what should I do? So I should be knowing, like, okay, now my couple of agents are not working. How do I take care of that activity? So if you are relying, like, for example, 60% of your workforce on automation and AI, and a fine morning things crashed, your 60% of productivity is down. So you have to think about the availability, fallback, security. All those things has to be taken as a priority
And
thing when you are building a like kind of agentic layer for a business.
And I think that's probably quite hard for business owners who aren't technical, but they're seeing a lot online saying, okay, you're behind on AI. You need to hurry up and get this in right now, And if you are just like, like you're on LinkedIn or Instagram and you're just seeing that as a business owner, you're going to be like, okay, I just need anything. I just need to implement anything.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, okay, well, you shouldn't just implement for the sake of implement. You should it should be problem solving first and really thinking deeply about the solutions that you're going to be producing. I want to also ask a question in terms of, like, this also is a big question of ownership, right? So when you go and build these agents, right, who now owns them? Who now makes sure that, it's maintained? And I think it ties a lot back into AI governance. And I think a lot of people think AI governance is just purely about law. It's just about regulation, and it's really not. It's about being AI literate, and like companies understanding, okay, well, when I bring this thing in or when I use this, what are all the type of different risks? So like risk management and so on. So I would say that, like, if you had an ideal client, what type of things would be in their AI governance structure? Because, like, obviously you've worked with people where, like, they tell you, this is what I want, this is my pain points, da, 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 da. You go and build it, and then afterward you go to their compliance team afterwards because they maybe didn't ever bring the person in initially, and then you have to now go back and build something else. So, like, what would your ideal client look like, and what would they know? What would they know about their own problems, and what would they know about their own kind of AI governance structure, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So I would say, like, as a company, right, as a business, right, they should be knowing. They should look into the AI systems as one of their new infrastructure add-on, right? So when you are procuring an infrastructure product, so for example, you are finding to purchase a firewall for your network security or application security, you always look into the vendor, right? Okay, is it SOC 2 certified? Is it other certification done? So then only you actually add it to your infrastructure, right? So to make sure that it complies, it works as we expected, and the security everything is actually predefined. The same thing has to be taken care when you have AI agents for your business. So it's all about what it does, right? So what the outcome it does. So for example, you have an AI agent that sends out customer feedbacks to your customers, like post purchase or something, right? So when you look as a customer, he don't look at, okay, this is an AI email, I can ignore. No, it's a email from this company, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so the company has to own that. So I send out something which is breaching the customer's privacy. I have to own it, right? Because that's my company's property. Who did the breach? So it's just like when I have a system that's basically kind of infected with a malware and it's doing some kind of mischievous activities. In that cases, all those ownership is on top of the company, right? So same thing. It's one of the company's property, whether it's an AI system or AI agent, whatever. The ownership comes to the company, and if it's been used behalf of a user, for example, I have an agent who take care of my email responses, and whatever the agent does, it's just going to be as I had done it. So the complaints is going to be on top of me.
Yeah.
So when a complaint's on top of me, and if I'm part of an organization, that get inherited to my organization, right?
Yeah.
So that's how it should be taken care. And when you have a agentic system running for any organization, so by default there should be a security system coming in place, right? Okay, we have to be having governance in place to understand what the agents are doing, whether they are actually obeying the policies, what has to be the steps taken when there is a breach happening, and all those things has to be taken care.
Yeah.
And also we should have a clear security framework which guides these agents. Yeah.
Well, this is being in Dubai right now. We're going to keep this in. So we'll let that go by.
yeah. So the same thing, right? Just you see, right? We have this security guideline, right? Whenever we have threat, they send out SOS. The same thing we should have for our business also. Whenever we identify an AI agent is not behaving as we expected, we should have alert in place, SOS in place, things in place, right?
Should we run for cover?
Yeah. It's just like we are getting a lot of alerts actually.
Yeah. What's the actual?
Yeah.
What is it? What's it actually?
Yeah, it's just like I think
the
it's
normal one.
alert,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So there's actually a phrase going around right now, which is called shadow AI, where employees deploy AI systems without their company knowing, right?
Yeah.
And I know that when I was working back in my previous company back in the UK, even though we were explicitly told, do not use ChatGPT, only use Copilot, people were still using ChatGPT anyway back then, right? So people just do it anyway. So how do you think that companies should address like shadow AI, or is there like a way of them actually addressing shadow AI?
Yeah, so that's a very big concern right now going around every company. Like you told, right, people were just using ChatGPT before. So now things are a little more grown up.
Yeah.
So they are using more tools, not just ChatGPT or Copilot. So they are trying to build own agents, and the agents are building sub-agents, and a lot of things are happening, right?
Yeah.
So understanding the landscape of shadow AI is very important for every company, because that directly deals with their data protection actually. So if one of the employees using any of these AI tools and putting up your data or customer data into that, it's just immediately you're done with your data breaching, and it's directly impacting all your certification, ISOs, all those things, right?
Yeah.
Because you're compliant to do this. So for example, we have this GDPR, right? We are not supposed to kind of breach that when you are in European Union. And in these cases, actually, what is happening is like companies has to put a lot of strict policies under their employee use cases, and they should have gateways, they should have firewalls which constantly monitor the tools that are being used actually. So there are gateways and endpoints which you can deploy, where you can understand what are the kind of application the employees are using, what are the web apps they are actually accessing to, so they can understand a clear landscape of the application use cases, or whether there are any tools that are not allowed to be used. Just like, for example, you told, right, ChatGPT was not being allowed, and you saw people are using
people
it, right?
using anyway,
and you can come to know, right? Okay, this employee started using ChatGPT. We can send out an email to that saying that we can warn the people are saying that you're not supposed to use this because we don't permit it. And when you come to enterprise usage, it's always go with enterprise setup, where if you go to any tool, right, you have this basic customer packages, and you have enterprise packages, right?
Yeah.
When you have an enterprise packages, they come with by default single tenancy and multi-tenancy separations, where you basically get your data secure in that place. So they are not going to share your data anywhere, and they are not going to use that data for training their models. So every company should go with enterprise models of any tools they purchase, instead of going with the basic models for the customers. Because what I see is the small companies always look into this costing. They say, this is going to cost me more when I go with enterprise model, so I'll go with a basic one or a second level one, which is cheaper for my customers. But that's going to put you under this data risk, so data protection risk. So I always say go with the enterprise model, and make sure that you have a very strict security layer built around it, to make sure that you are actually kind of having everything in place. And in this AI era, it's very difficult to understand the data flow happening, because it's not just the data that you own, it's like you're having system that's going to generate a lot of data on top of it. So the data is keep on growing for your company and organization when you look into that part. So for example, you had a invoice in place, and now your AI system can generate a summary out of it, and now you have two set of data, one your invoice and your summary, and both is holding sensitive data, right? So now we have to make sure that both the data are also safe. So it's like a big huge effort every company has to put in as a priority to make sure that the data that they hold as well as the data that are generated are also coming under the compliance, and making sure that they all follow the strict guidelines.
I think it ties back to that whole thing of exponential. It's like just makes everything just grow in an exponential way. So at first, because I have like many friends who are like software engineers, they're very technical, and I was like, and even me as like a working in data myself, I was like, AI is really like can do these things very quickly. But you saying how like there's an explosion of data.
Yeah.
There's an explosion of data. There's an explosion of content being produced that needs to be analyzed. And when I was talking to one of my friends who's a compiler engineer, he was saying that, well, like now building software is now cheaper because you have these vibe coding tools. You now have Claude Code, Corsa. It now means that the cost of building software is so much cheaper, which means that, well, if it's cheaper to do it, okay, I'm going to do it now. I'm going to build more. And he said that actually, like, we're actually seeing the demand for software engineers increase again, right? So there's actually been an increase, and the same thing in terms of like the explosion in data that's being produced. Right. I guess like those other type of data roles will also increase as well. So it's kind of funny in the sense of like even though it feels like okay, like it is disrupting the labor market, it is disrupting like the jobs people can do, and it might mean like those software engineering jobs are now they don't command as much of a high wage, but it doesn't mean that these jobs are gone. It just means that there's an augmentation that happens there. So that's quite interesting in terms of like, because I never really thought about it like, okay, well, when it analyzes that's an extra piece of data, and there's more data being produced over and over again. So that's very interesting and eye-opening. I never really thought about that at all. So so you use OpenClaw, right?
Yeah, I do use OpenClaw.
You do use OpenClaw. You seem so happy to say that. Okay.
Yeah, I use a lot of things outside OpenClaw. So it's a very interesting tool, right? It's a very powerful tool also. So it's one of the most hype stuff around
right now.
And one of the things is like it can actually take care of a lot of agents at once. It acts as your agentic gateway. It can connect to your channels like Telegram, WhatsApp, Teams, Discord, and you can communicate to your agents using those channels, and it can take care of a lot of activities, right? So a lot of hype is built around it, and I could say very less people talking about the security, but people who know about the security, they're saying, guys, don't use it in your organizations, and don't use it with your sensitive data. Like make sure that you have it isolated from your data and all those things, so that it doesn't do any kind of malicious activities, right? And that's true. Because the way it's been so powerful, it's even having a very large security landscape. So that means when you have a very large security landscape, it's going to be much more vulnerable. So you have, for example, you have an agent that's take care of your sales and marketing. So that's one of the very common use case people are right now doing. And what if it just breaches one of your, so for example, you connected with your LinkedIn and it's trying to reach out to multiple people a day. And what if it just breaches a LinkedIn use case policy, end user policy? Your account is under block, right? Your account is being breached. Your account is going to be suspended. And then getting your account out of it going to be a very big, risky task. So in those kind of situations, it's very difficult to manage what agents are doing. So that's the reason I was saying in the beginning, we should have a very strict framework, policies, and those things has to be built around it, so that we know, okay, what the agent is doing, and you should have a clear trace of what it is done. Okay, for example, most of people get it done, get it configured, and make it to work, but they don't know what it was doing last day, right? If I ask them, do you know what it was doing last day? No, I don't have a track of it. Do you have a log system that checks for this, or you have a monitoring system that looks into that, or do you know how many emails it sent out? Unless you go and check your outboxes. No, most of people don't think about that. Okay, how do I track it? How do I manage it? And what if you have any kind of hijacking happen? So what if your agent is hijacked? So how much bad you're going to impact it? So for example, like I just told, right, you connected with your LinkedIn, you connected with your Facebook, Meta accounts, everything. If the agent is hijacked, your entire social media presence is gone. It's taken out your accounts, right? So we should be having those kind of securities checkpoints in place. Okay, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen when it is hijacked? Or what's going to happen if a prompt injection comes in? Instead of sending out email, what it asks you delete the inboxes. So all those things has to be taken care of, right? And how do you manage the sensitive data? How do you manage the credentials? Is it like embedded to the system, or is it part of your skill set, or how you're making sure that the keys are being shared? So do you have a system where the keys are protected periodically, or there is encryption properly happening in place? So all those things has to be looked up before we go with any of these kind of system, which is very much powerful and very difficult to handle, right? When I say very difficult to handle, because it's very easy to build agents into it, very easy to build a skill set, very easy to connect it. But then the next phase comes in. How do you manage it? How do you make sure they are working as you need? And are they right now working in a secure way? So all those things are something going to be the biggest challenge right now. And if you see, many companies now stopped allowing employees to use it. So they don't want employees to use these kind of tools. The only thing is like, yeah, it's super powerful, and that comes with a lot of responsibility to take care.
Yeah.
Because, for example, we have the similar thing called a co-work with Cloud actually. So when you have a Cloud co-work, actually, it's basically help you to kind of take care of your local laptop activities and everything, right? So that also brings a lot of kind of responsibility to the user who is using it. So when you look into a normal user, they might have sensitive data stored in a laptop, and they might have credentials stored in your Google passwords and all those things, right? So we have to make sure that these things are taken care very carefully and in a secure way. So it's really a very sensitive thing to work with, and the thing is like it's super powerful. That's the biggest thing, and it can evolve itself, right? That's it. So when an agent is hijacked, it can rewrite its activities, rewrite its skill. It can do many things if required. So it's just like, okay, somebody is hacking into your laptop and accessing your laptop, your browser, everything, and trying to do things on behalf of you. So it's just something like that. It's very sensitive stuff.
Yeah, that's really amazing. I think that's a really good point.
But you can do a lot of things with this. Like people are doing amazing stuff. Like the things that they took like a weeks to finish, they're doing it in hours with the help of these kind of agents and these kind of systems. It's not just open cloud. There are many similar tools out there, and you can actually make it to work for you, and you can bring very phenomenal results. And the thing that I always want to add along with this, like make sure that it's secure, it's safe. Because you should be knowing what it is doing actually. So you cannot just leave it like that, right?
So do you know how have you seen like a best example of people actually going and managing these AI agents, as in like, you know, knowing like they're actually actively following, okay, what have they done at, you know, like you would with an employee, you would do a check-in with an employee, right? That's what people who are good managers do. You know, they'd be like, okay, well, this is what they've achieved, this is what they've done well, and you'd evaluate, and then you, like you would manage a person. What is the best examples you've seen in a company doing that or a person doing that?
Yeah, so I would always say is like, so we had this kind of like kind of concept, right? Okay, the what do you say, improvement, right? So we have this performance improvement, right, of every employee, right? So now if you ask me, right, understanding AI, understand the AI landscape, and where you can fit AI best in your career and your daily job, that something has to be the next key point everybody should look at. Because I'm very good at doing something, that is not enough now. So my thought should be like, okay.
My question here is,
okay,
if someone now deploys an AI system, right, and they have, an AI agent to be more specific.
Okay.
Like we have, when you're a manager, you have people that you manage, and you do check-ins with that person, right? And you'd be like, okay, a performance review.
Yes.
Like, this is how well you've done this month, and either you're getting a bonus, which never, like, that's not really the case, but you'd probably do it more quarterly, actually.
Yeah.
So what's the best examples you've seen of a company managing an AI agent, or have you not seen that at all? Like people actually properly managing these AI agents, understanding what the outputs you have seen?
No, I have seen actually. So recently I worked with a agency So they are into infrastructure management. So they help their customers to manage their FinOps. In the sense like they help them to understand where they can make savings, where they can make optimizations. So they help them to make sure that the FinOps landscape is under control, right? So I was working with this team and I've seen like the team started integrating AI agents to analyze the reports, analyze daily usages, and come up with a very keen, streamlined points, checklists, which the users can do very easily, and they can bring very phenomenal savings out of it. So, for example, they showed me a report like they were able to bring down a customer's monthly cost, which was like around 1.5k. 150k actually of USD a month, and what they did, they started analyzing hour by hour. So every hour they start analyzing the data, and they started pulling out a result out of it, and they came up with a strategy so that they can bring down the cost from 150k to 90k. And they said this could have been never possible if we could have done it manually. In the sense like even with the existing tools, like getting the report generated, then running the algorithms out of it. No, we add an AI agent that can actually understand much more deeper into it, and it can do calculation very quicker than us. And that is something very phenomenal, and I was very much surprised. Yeah, they said like it's basically like the company is now making a huge profit because they were able to bring down around 30 to 40% of their running cost, and adding AI is nothing like they didn't actually bother about it because it's not a expense right now. So I'm seeing companies doing these kind of activities, and also they are like I told, right, they are trying to automate many things that could have taken a longer time. So for example, if you need to do something around the clock, AI is the best thing, right? You have a process that has to be happening around the clock. You can actually think about how do I automate that using AI, and those things are something like companies are doing right now. In the sense like I even worked with another team who was actually kind of struggling a lot with this one, like customer engagement. In the sense like they used to get, it's kind of an e-commerce platform. So they used to get feedbacks and reviews. It's not the customer ticket. They used to get reviews for their products. So they were having around 800 plus products in their marketplace. And customers used to come back and say, guys, I need an orange color of this product. Do you have? So they don't raise a ticket. They put a review. So when I raise a ticket, it goes to the customer team, customer support team, and they will be able to, this customer have a problem. But when somebody comes and raises a review of that, so they have a review section of the product and there is a review, it's very difficult to kind of understand whether this is a genuine review or is a bot or is something like need to be taken care of. So they enable a complete AI agentic system which reads the review, look into that, whether that has to be kind of something need to be action upon or not. So for example, somebody came in and say that, hey, I need this particular product of yellow color. I'm not finding it. So and they put because he found a red one, I put a review under that saying that, it would be great if I had a yellow color of this. And this review will be picked up by agent and understand, this user is looking for this similar product with yellow color. It go back, the user send out an email saying that these are the places you can find, these are the links, go to this page, you find the yellow color product here, and these are the price, everything you can purchase from here. So this could have been much more difficult when you are having a system like a human-driven system that need to handle like 1,000 plus reviews a day, and reviews are always not informative, right? Sometimes they say, it's looking very good. You don't have to respond to that, right? And sometimes say, this is not good. So those kind of things comes in which really don't have to be taken care much, but these kind of things which I initially told, right? If somebody is looking for something, they need to be taken care of where it increases sales. So I've seen that team doing this very well with the help of agentic AI, generative AI, integrated with along with N8 and automations. Okay. So they automated this, and they're saying, they were able to increase 8% of the sale. The customers who are looking for something, they are now able to kind of get it much more informative.
Okay. I wanted to ask you as well on terms of when you're deploying them, how do you red team? How do you put guardrails? Like what specific prompts are you doing that you're as specific as you can get to make sure that it's red teamed?
Yeah, so you're talking about the outcome, the promises, right?
Yeah, so like ensuring that it doesn't, in terms that it doesn't work in a wrong way. So for example, it's not obviously the baseline model kind of helps a lot in that sense, but like ensuring that it's I guess, not racist, or it doesn't say
Yeah,
something
so-
crazy? How do you red team it?
Yeah, got it. Yeah. So what happens like always when I work with a team, right? We always go in this kind of model, right? We do the assessment first, then we come with a strategic plan for the development. So then we focus on developing in a sandbox environment, right? So we develop in a sandbox environment. So see, this development step always have with the framework, then the security layer, then the monitoring layer. So all these three layers, right? So the agentic framework, then the security layer, and the monitoring layer. So these three framework, sometimes you might have multiple agents, multi-layer agents. So there might be dedicated agents who take care of the security. Then there will be sub-agents under the security itself. There will be like sub-agents under the framework, sub-agents under the complaints. So all these are going to be part of the product that you're going to deliver. So we design this thing, understand, okay, these are the architecture components coming into the system. That's going to be the output, in the sense like, okay, when we gonna make it running, this is going to be the output of it. And we always start developing it in a sandbox environment, and we will always have these kind of flags, right? Okay, what's going to be the what's going to be the largest damage it can create. So what happens when it basically breaches a security framework? So just like you have a car and you're driving in the road, and you might sometimes misses a traffic rule, right? You might do a wrong turn sometimes. So you have to pay a fine for it, right? The same thing. When an agent basically crosses a limit, or in the sense it doesn't follow a particular framework of policy, security policy framework, we have to decide what should be done. So for example, you have a agent doing XYZ activity, and it didn't follow the guidelines, and it was a little rude to a customer when you send out an email or something. What should be the action taken next? And there will be always two things, right? How do we control it? How do we make sure that it doesn't do? Secondary, what to do when it happens, even though you have a security measure in place. So we have to put those policies also in place. So you have an agent which is not behaving as it is. So okay, the next thing is shut it down, or stop it, or okay, retrain it. So there will be many policies we have to put in place, right? So you are sending out an email. The emails has to go through a gateway which looks into the email content, make sure that that's aligned with the policy, then only it should be delivered. So it always have three places, right? One, it reads the data, then it understands the data and do the activity on top of it, and then the outcome of it. The outcome can be email, notification, writing to a databases, generating a content out of it. There will be many outcomes that it can do, right? So the reading can be from sensors, from devices, from your databases, from files, from user inputs, from even the voices. A lot of things can be the inputs. So we have to make sure that these three phases are well secured and well organized, and there is a clear framework around it. And we should make sure that all the output it generates go through a proper analysis and understand it is giving the one which is supposed to be the output. So just like when you send out an email, if it just send out an email without doing a proper screening, whether it's biased or something like that, you don't come to know what is happening, right? But when you have a system that looks into every email the agent is generating, or any agent that does an emailing, you can analyze, there is an input coming in that is not compliant with the policy, so the email should not be delivered. Something like that you have to be having in
a
place.
nice catch, to really catch those outliers. That makes a lot of sense. I think the conversation is making me understand, okay, more than just has to do anything in terms of law or regulation. Governance is so important, and having those safety checks in, just from a capability risk, from a reputational risk. Like it's really important. So I'm actually gonna take this conversation on a different journey. We're gonna flip it a little bit.
Okay.
So obviously we met in Ras Al Khaimah, right?
Yeah.
So why did you choose, like, of all the Emirates, why did you choose Ras Al Khaimah to start your business in terms of like AI, automation, and so on?
Yeah, so I would say I didn't start my business here. So I'm into this industry from last 14 years. So I'm working with many customers from long term. So if you ask me, Ras Al Khaimah was kind of an option which I choose to move to UAE. So if you look into the way I work, actually, so most of our works happens online, right? We work with customers, with the systems mostly online, because our systems always reside in cloud. So I don't need a physical presence to access my systems or customer information or whatever we're working with. So I really need a place where I can chill out, I can be cool, I can be more productive, I can have my own space rather than being stuck in traffic, being the crowd. So I like that way. So I sometimes just spend 72 hours or maybe more than that at a stretch to work on something else. In the sense we are mid of something or we are doing something very intensively. I just keep on pushing the time. So I found, if I'm in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, which is a busy city, it's going to be more a distraction for me rather than I can focus on my outcome. So I thought, Ras Al Khaimah is a very cool place. We have everything there, but it's very cool.
Yeah.
No distractions. We have places to chill out.
True.
Yeah.
Nice place to chill out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Because I kind of wanted to ask, like, what your take was in terms of, like, you know, Ras Al Khaimah Innovation City that's like coming, and well, it's already there, but I know that they're going to be like building, I guess, like the next like big tech hub and so on. Like, and I'm like, do you see that as a, you know, an opportunity for yourself? But I'm starting to feel like maybe like it's like, yes, it's an opportunity, but it's not your first focus. Like, because you say that you handle a lot of clients in like in the UK, US, Europe.
Right, yeah.
That's kind of like where you really focus on. Do you what would have to happen in Ras Al Khaimah for you to like turn your focus to them instead of UK, US?
Yeah, so I would say UAE and even Ras Al Khaimah is a very growing market, right? So because people are now actually investing a lot into improving their technology landscape. So this is really a good opportunity right now where you can actually get into people to walk around with people and actually move more forward with the technology landscape, like kind of, for example, shaping their future and shaping their business around here. So, so if you look into the global market and UA market, so I would say like this trend was there in US and European area already, because that's the places where we see the boom actually of technology happening. But now even UAE is also part of it, right? It's not like, okay, they're too behind. So they are a part of it actually, because that's something like we are seeing right now because of these innovation cities and other tech hubs growing a lot. So UAE is also part of that, where they want to be in the race. They want to be part of the technology boom that is happening, the technology transformation. I would say the transformation, because we had this dot-com boom actually around 2000s. And now it's a very big transformation happening from the existing landscape to a new AI-driven landscape. So just imagine, right? So 2 years back, you need to draft an email. I go there, I write it. Then I look into my sentences, my grammar, my spell checks. I might take 10-15 minutes to do it. So now I just go there, open up my Gmail, I go to my Gemini and just say, can you reply to this? This is what it is. It's 2 seconds to do it. So the thing has changed. So everything is changing, right? So the way we work, the way we communicate, so everything is changing. So this is something like I'm not seeing everywhere around the world, but UA is transforming a lot and much more faster than other part of the world. So I would say it's like, definitely it's going to be one of my primary goal in 2026 to work with more business around UAE. So that I can actually help them to transform. So I always say, guys, this is not just adding anything to your existing business. It's a kind of a transformation. It's required because we are seeing transformation in our throughout our generation, right? We have to transform from existing to a new system, new technology. So that's going to be the growth is where it is hidden. So this is a time, this is a phase where every company should think about how they can transform their existing business to AI-driven business, so where they can integrate new technology, new system to their stack and they're part of their day-to-day activities.
Okay, and if there was a business that wanted to, transform, how would you, let's say that I'm a customer, like what would you take me, how would you kind of hold my hand into developing that solution? And then I guess at the end of that, can you maybe tell our audience how they can actually access your services as well?
Yeah, so that's a very good thought, because like I told, I think in between I was telling this word, right? Most of the companies think about automating or adding AI to the existing workforces or existing process. So I always talk to the business in a way to understand what they really do. And I always understand the pain point. Is it the pain point in the outcome what they're getting, or is it like they need to improve the process, or is it like they need to grow? So that's always I need to understand, like is it like are you trying to fix something that is broken right now, or are you looking to grow actually? So what do you really need to see your business after this transformation? So what I see mostly is like most of the smaller business or a medium businesses, they have this kind of dilemma. They think that, oh, I will automate the existing work processes. So I will automate this thing. I will automate my incoming call reception, or I will automate my customer support. I will automate my outbound outreaches. So my question will be, is it that you always need actually? Is it what all you need? Because you automate your outreach, tomorrow new technology comes in, people start doing something else. How do you do that? How do you going to cope up with that technology? So it's not about just automating a single point. It's about transforming business from existing way of the work model to a AI-driven work model. So when you think about AI-driven work model, it's not just about automating. It's improving the existing process, maybe changing the process, maybe adding a new process which is relevant for that. So for example, you were when it's a small company, you were actually taking care of your invoices in a way where it used to store in your invoice system. So now, when you are thinking about transforming business, you might have to sometimes get off that system. You can't use it because that is not going to work with the systems that you're going to implement next. So you might have to think about a new different way. So you can't use that. So that's kind of thing which I always talk. You have to think about transformation. It's not about just fixing what is broken or speeding up using some automation so that you can actually achieve more results. It will be like temporary. You won't be able to take it more. Yeah, we are getting more alerts. I think more missiles are coming in.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how it has to be, right? I always make the business owner think about how they can transform their business so that they can actually make it an AI driven one. So sometimes they might say, no, I don't have anything that AI can do. So I recently talked to a customer, actually, they were saying, no, I work with a couple of things that I don't think AI can do. I was then understanding what are they. I said, yeah, well, I have my vendors out there. Sometimes my salespeople call their vendors and ask their status and all those things they do. I said, why can't they? No, because it's like something which doesn't happen on a systematic way. It happened randomly. I said, so what? You should be having a driving point, right? So your sales agents are calling your vendors when there is a incoming request coming in or the mail coming in or notification coming in. Something is driving that process, right? So if anything can drive an activity, we can accommodate with the AI system because it's all about it, right? If a data is driving something, yeah, you can do it. So it's all about understanding your business and think about transforming rather than, okay, I want to add a system. So my competitors using WhatsApp automation, my competitors using like outreach automation, LinkedIn automation. So I need that. No, it is not what you actually may be needing. You need something else that can actually work for you. So you always have to think about that rather than going along with the trend, because that's a big thing happening when you open up social media. You see that, okay, we are falling behind. You have this system. This can help you to grow a business 300 times, 500 times. I asked one person once, like, okay, you have a team of 10 people. And what if your business grows into 10x? Will you be able to deliver or with that requirement? He said, no, I can't grow in that way. Your systems can grow, your incoming leads can grow with automations, all those things. Will you be able to cater that much leads? So you have to think that also, right? Because when you're transforming, you should think, okay, I can reach to X number into 5x or 10x people. Will I be able to kind of deliver the product to them? Will I be able to kind of deliver my services to these many people if I'm getting more leads? So I'm going to have a lead leakage, right? I'm going to leak my leads. So those things you have to think when you are thinking about these things. Because now we have 10 people working for a company and you added an automation to do outreach. The number of incoming leads went into 10x.
Yeah.
So you are now having a big chaotic situation where you are not able to handle it.
And if you don't reply to them, then it looks bad on your reputation.
Yes.
So everything is like reputation.
Yes.
Are you actually capable of handling all the fruit that you're going to reap as a reward of these good AI agents working on your behalf? So it's like, are you ready? And I think that's really good in terms of the way that you would handle a potential customer. So how can they get in touch with you?
You can reach out to me over my LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very much active on my LinkedIn. You just message me, boom, I'll be replying.
Okay, so you heard it. He will reply immediately. So thank you so much for coming on. And I don't know what else you would do. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think I'm good actually. But this is something really a very great phase for every business owners, every individual to step into the next era of technology, because a lot of things are changing. People are really worried sometimes, thinking, okay, like is it something like going to take humans out of the loop? It's not going to be happening every time, because whenever a new technology comes in, things really take a new shape. So they are actually going to take a new shape right now. So we will be seeing a lot of things happening, a lot of things going to change around. So that's going to be a part of it.
And then also, someone, if AI makes an illegal decision, someone does have to go to jail. So there's always going to be someone.
Yeah, that's what I told, right? It's your property, right? So when you have a
so there's always going to be jobs. There's always going to have to be a human in the loop because someone has to be accountable.
Yeah, right.
So well, anyway, that's it.